Alright, welcome to the Thrive in 30 Challenge, where you and I are going to be taking massive steps towards improving both the quality of your health and the quality of your life. Throughout these 30 days, you and I are going to use the same principles and strategies that make you a badass inside the gym and apply them when and where it really counts, because we both know that the real workout starts when you leave the gym. You're going to be joining myself, Coach Carl, the creator of this challenge, and the amazing Mind Over Body Bootcamp as we work together towards discovering, defining, and ultimately declaring the best version of yourself the only way we can. One workout at a time and one set at a time. One day at a time and one step at a time. Now let's get started. Did you know that I thought about quitting Canada Post for 10 years before I actually did it? How long did I work there? 10 years. Now if you do some quick maths on that one, you'll come to the conclusion that I basically wanted to quit from day one, which is both true and ironic. Because while I couldn't stand my job for the first several years, I actually really enjoyed it at the end. So while I didn't leave when I hated it, it's almost as though I waited around until I loved it to leave. But that's not the case at all. I left because I didn't have a choice. At least that's the way I saw it. Now, if you remember from very early on in this challenge, I mentioned that there were two videos that were the catalysts in me finally quitting my job. The first was Simon Sinek's TED Talk on starting with why. That was the video that brought me so much clarity on what my purpose was and still is to this day. The second video, appropriately enough, was entitled, You Have to Jump. Steve Harvey's speaking after the recording of a show, and he explains how every successful person has jumped. I would highly suggest that if you haven't already, to check out this video. But I'll recap the piece of wisdom that hit me the hardest. Steve said, if you're waking up thinking that there has to be more to your life than it is, man, believe that it is. Believe in your heart of hearts that it is. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump. When you're standing on that cliff of life and you see people soaring by, have you ever thought maybe this person right here has identified their gift and is living in their gift? But the only way for you to soar is you got to jump. You've got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You've got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. That gift opens up and provides the soar. Now please go watch that video, because I definitely cannot deliver that message as good as Steve does. But I sure heard him loud and clear the first time I ever saw that video. It was in the summer of 2016. And that same day, I went home, typed up my letter of resignation, dated it November 21st, 2016, and then printed off 2 copies. One to hand in on November 21st, 2016, and the other posted on my wall where I could see my commitment to jump every single day. Now, I'll never forget the reaction I got from my manager when I handed it in. I walked into his office with the envelope in hand, and I'm not gonna lie, I was scared shitless. He was sitting at his desk with his back towards the door where I came in. I just said, Daryl, can I bother you for a sec? He said sure, but he was just about to tell me something anyway, so he jumped in and started talking. I have no idea what he said because I was too scared to listen. I just stood there and nodded for a minute or two until he looked down at my hand, saw the letter, and then asked me, what's that? I told him it was my resignation letter and began laughing lightly and said, no, seriously, what is that? I reaffirmed that it was in fact my letter of resignation. And to say he was surprised would be an understatement. Now, after he got over the initial shock and we talked for a bit about why I was leaving, he asked me if I was sure this is the right thing for me to do. After all, I was leaving what most people would consider a dream job. I got paid extremely well. I had amazing relationships with the people I worked with. I had earned the respect of both my employees and my superiors. I actually enjoyed what I did. I had tons of holidays and great benefits. Who in their right mind would give something like that up? I explained to Daryl the same thing I had to explain to everyone who questioned my decision to quit. If I don't do this now, I know I will look back and regret it forever. Long story short, it was my time to jump. So I did. And here we are, soaring together on this journey that began as a result of me pulling the cord on my gift. And now it's your turn. Don't get me wrong. By no means am I saying that you got to go into work tomorrow and hand in your letter of resignation. Although one individual I've been coaching for a while now did just that, and it turns out she ended up soaring off that cliff just fine. What I am going to suggest you do starting today is to pull the cord on your gift. And I already know what you're thinking. You may not have a clue what your gift is, but even if you do, you have no idea where to start. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly where to start. My partner, Jenny Lee, had this to say at the end of week 3 of the challenge when speaking about what purpose means to her. She shared these words that I highly recommend you write down and post on your fridge so you can see them every single day. She said, who we are as a human being is what people remember when we're gone, not what we did. So why put so much emphasis on that? She said, this is such a reassuring feeling for me because I've always wondered what my passion is, what my gift to the world is. Now I understand my gift is me. How powerful are those words? Because you are the gift you have to give to the world. That person you described in your living eulogy is waiting in your backpack, waiting for you to jump and pull the cord. Now, if you're ready to start doing that today, here is what I'm going to invite you to do right now. Task number 1 is to pack your backpack, step number 1. All those intentions you listed for each area of the prep work last week, they're not just going to sit there in your journal or your phone. Get out a fresh piece of paper and turn to a fresh page in your journal and draw a line vertically down the middle of the page and then again horizontally across the middle of the page. Then you're going to label all 4 quadrants with one area of the prep work, just like this. Top left quadrant, physical health. Top right, relationships. Bottom left, emotional well-being. And bottom right, purpose. Then you're going to take all the single words that describe your intentions in each area and fill in each quadrant with those intentions. This is step 1 of packing your backpack. Tomorrow we're going to tackle step 2, where we continue to pack your bag with the other necessities you're going to need to make sure your pack opens when you go to pull that cord. So again, task number 1 is to pack your backpack, step number 1. Take all the intention words you wrote out last week for each area of the prep work and write them out on a piece of paper with 4 separate quadrants, 1 for each area of the prep work. The time to jump is coming, my friend. But before we do, we're going to make sure your pack has everything you need before you pull that cord. Until tomorrow, we got this. Thanks again for joining me and being brave enough to accept the Thrive in 30 challenge. But just remember that regardless of how many times it is said, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power, and it is up to you to complete these tasks, apply the knowledge you learn here, and ultimately take small yet transformative steps towards creating the life you want for you and the people you love. Just like in the gym, if you want to be stronger, if you want to be healthier, if you want to feel better about who you are, no matter how hard things may seem in the moment, just remember that you only have to do something once to know you can do it again, and that whatever pain you have to endure, at the end of the day, the truth cannot be denied. And that truth is that you are worth it. We got this.